مسكن البيت.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the May 3rd edition of the Midcard. I am your host, the GOAT Bams, and I'm here with Joey Wrestling. Joe, how you doing, bud?
So I think I need to issue a public apology to you for how we ended on Sunday. As a service desk technician in my regular life, I am appalled that I didn't realize that my headset had died. And it wasn't an issue on your end. It, in fact, was an issue on my end. And I'm sitting here going, I'm giving you like the silence box treatment. And you're like, dude, like I can only unplug and push buttons so many times. So I think it needs to be on record. I need to publicly apologize for my utter and sheer stupidity at the end of Sunday's show.
Oh, it's all good, dude. I got a good laugh out of it. I laughed right after. I thought that was pretty funny.
As soon as I texted you, I was like, so I figured out the issue.
As soon as we got off, you're like, I listened back. My bad. That was so funny. Sorry, I was just I was looking at one of the comments from the other show. It was I got some idiot friends that like to make some stupid comments. It's funny to read though.
All the
and
best.
we appreciate it. Yeah. Any comments are good comments, I guess.
Exactly. Any interaction is a good interaction, good or bad. Whoa. I just like lowered the arms on my I literally seconds ago had just lowered the arm on my chair. And I went to go put my arm on the armrest and slumped down. And I was like, oh my God, I wasn't expecting that. Like, this is how stupid I am sometimes. It's been a long week.
Oh, dude, it's been such a long week. Today was such a long day, too. Dude, I thought my phone was broke while I was at work, right? I couldn't use the screen at all. I couldn't restart it. I tried to restart it, couldn't do that. So from 11 o'clock to like 4 o'clock, I go pick up my grandfather and I stop by this place that fixes phones. And the girl there's like, is that all that it is? It's just the screen. I'm like, yeah, I tried to restart it. Can't restart it. Dude, it took her 20 seconds to figure this problem out. I thought it was going to cost God knows what. You know what I mean? But it took 20 seconds. I felt like such a dumbass.
Let me guess. She just restarted it, right? She just held the power button down for like 10, 15 seconds and then...
Yeah, dude. She held like 2 buttons down and then 1 button down and then boom. All of a sudden it's fixed. I was sitting there since 11 o'clock in the morning without a phone.
See, so as someone who's like in that field, just in a different scope, I'll be the first one to tell you that it's not like stupidity or lack of awareness. It happens to everyone, and you just don't think about those simple fixes.
Yeah, that's all.
It's usually I can tell you that like 8.5 times out of 10, the fix that I have for a lot of the users for where I work are just, hey, restart your computer. I'll take a look at their task manager, which shows you the uptime, how long the computers have been running. And I'll see like a computer has been technically running for a day, 2 days, 3 days. And it's like, there's probably an update that's pending. And you just need to restart your computer. Oh my God, it runs so much faster. Like, yeah, I know.
It's so unbelievable how easy fixes like usually are the answer. I literally tried to do what she did and she somehow did it better. I don't know.
Just gotta Google the model of your phone and how to hard reset it, and you'll be good to go for next time.
Yeah, for next time. Hopefully it doesn't happen, dude. That was awful.
Back in my Radio Shack days, phones used to have removable batteries, and that was a joke then, is it was like, oh, just pull the battery. Hey, my phone's doing this. Yeah, just pull the battery.
Dude,
fixed every issue.
I miss the old phones. Those things were indestructible.
Except for when the batteries blew up.
Yeah, you take the good with the bad, though.
Why is my phone not charging? You look at the back and the cover's bumping out. Like,
dude, it was so bad. Those, old cell phones though. That Nokia brick that they had.
Yeah, those you can't. Those are still sitting in a landfill somewhere. You try to melt them down and they just reform back into the Nokia brick.
You look at an iPhone nowadays, it breaks.
Yeah,
you know,
yep.
That
I
thing,
have
you
mine
could run that thing over.
I have mine in like the heavy dutyest case possible because I just don't trust the military grade Gorilla Glass. Let me tell you a secret as someone who has served before. If something's labeled as military grade, good luck because it is probably not strong. If it's military grade, it's worse than something from Amazon.
That's hilarious. That's pretty funny. My old man said the same thing. Hey, kind of a slow week in wrestling.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't. I have
was
some
a lot, but
things that I found. There's actually one thing I saw before we went online that if we don't have a ton of news to get to, I could bring up. It's something
we
a little
can blow through
interesting.
Raw and AEW real quick.
Yeah, and
AEW wasn't great. It was all
we've
right.
got Backlash that we could also run through as well. That
Yeah.
starts in less than 24 hours. I think it's on at either 10 or 1 o'clock our time. I forget what the start time is Eastern. I think it's 1.
hate when they do that, but
It's because it's in France.
Yeah.
So like instead of having it at like 4 in the morning on a Monday, they're obviously they have to kind of accommodate.
They're getting a
the time
WrestleMania,
frame.
huh? Somewhere in England's gonna get a WrestleMania.
If they want to put AEW to bed with the whole like, well, we've drawn the biggest crowd in wrestling history, then yeah, they'd be smart to do something like that.
Triple H hinted at it at some press conference.
Did he? I thought it was Las Vegas is where they were going to go. I think that's heavily.
No, I'm not
too.
saying next year, but I'm saying.
I get what you're saying.
It's
like
coming,
it's in the because I think it's going to go Vegas, Minnesota, and then probably like 2026 is still up for bid. If I had to guess. Oh. Well, in the new the Superdome or whatever they have, whatever they call their Mercedes Dome, because I think they have one in Atlanta.
The visit for the weekend.
Yeah, it's yeah. As a Patriots fan, I'm sure you can attest. I listen to a lot of sports talk radio, and since we've been fortunate enough to have had sports talk radio go to a lot of Super Bowl events, I remember they always said because there was at least one that was in Minnesota. They said it was that in Arizona were awful places to go for a Super Bowl.
Right. There's nothing to do.
Exactly.
I mean, you've got the Mall of America, and I think that's about it.
Even that's not as the attraction is not like it used to be.
Yeah, that's very true. So, Monday Night Raw. Did anything really stick out for you besides the draft stuff?
It was better.
Continued to be boring though. They didn't really shock anybody. Nothing was crazy with the draft.
I will say I do like because we talked about it on Sunday, how it's weird that they didn't have like that. We didn't know like, if somebody went first overall on Raw on Monday, was that a good thing because they went first overall or like a bad thing because they were first overall, but on day 2. And I at least like they played into Drew McIntyre falling on Monday and him coming out and like ripping them for it and like actually making, so like, I like there was some continuity there, but it wasn't, it wasn't anything crazy. Nothing shocked me. Nothing was surprising. But again, I think it was because they wanted to focus more on it being a draft night.
They shouldn't have even done it then. If this was what it was, I mean, I feel like to have a draft, you should have like some shocking pick. It should mean something. Like the number 1 overall pick should undoubtedly be Roman Reigns.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like there is no doubt. If you're not going to allow champions, you always take the world champion first. But if champions aren't in the pool, Roman Reigns goes first.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
SmackDown gets the first pick. SmackDown drafts Roman Reigns. That's where he wants to be. That's where he gets to be. But you don't have him withdraw from, you know what I mean? That's your biggest star. After that, and then like we talked about the early portion of the draft, it's not like they did a great job. Like their number 1 pick was Bianca. Why?
Yeah, and I mentioned that before, and it's nothing against the women's draft or anything, the women's division, but we're still.
I almost feel like they should do a women's draft separate.
Yeah, because there were still so many women superstars that weren't technically drafted, and then there were NXT women stars that were drafted before other women stars. Like it was.
I almost feel like you should have 2 weeks, right? So the first 2 rounds would be Monday Night Raw. That's your premier show. You get the first 2 rounds. I feel like you need to throw heavy hitters in there, and you need one guy to switch brands that you didn't expect.
Want to just throw out there the OG Bullet Club just won the first match of the Dusty Rhodes Classic behind me.
Nice.
I hope we get to at least see every tag that I put in. I think you'd appreciate some of the mixes that I made, but I won't spoil it. I'll let the viewers see what's behind me, but
I love that part. We've had some comments on how great that is in the back.
Yeah, Buddy mentioned it to me as well. I was like, yeah, it's what I try to do.
I love it. I love it. I'm finishing up the autograph wall, and I'm putting a desk on the other side, so that's why I've been sitting on this side. This is where I do the Tuesday podcast. So, but the wall will be finished soon, and I have some autographs on there that are going to, They're eye poppers, dude.
Nice.
They're
Well,
eye
like
poppers.
I got since we're on topic, you can't see it because it's not the greatest. Like I don't have the greatest light. Like right there, that's there's a Kane
Yeah.
Ultimate Mattel figure that's got his John Hancock. That right above is an Alexa Bliss pop that's got her John Hancock, and then basically everything over here is autographed by Finn Balor.
You like the pops?
I don't to a degree.
So
I
this
like
is a big
certain
market
ones.
for the wrestling community, by the way, collectors.
Yeah,
It's like a huge, weird portion. And
I
collectors
hate them for it, to be honest.
collectors all collect different things, and they're all like real passionate about it. So like, there's pop guys, there's autograph guys, there's figure guys, there's autograph figure guys. There's like all sorts of stuff, and they run out and grab everything they can in that field that they like. I'll collect whatever.
Yes, I'm the same. I just like autographed memorabilia. Like actually,
Right.
like right above me, if you listen to metal, this is from Spirit Box. That's got their autographs on it.
Nice.
I have a Dance Gavin Dance, another like kind of metal band. It depends on kind of how you look at it. Autographed by them. Like I just like I've seen a lot of people with the opinion that they don't like autograph stuff, which is fine. But for me, like I'm not the guy that'll be like, oh, come see my office and look at this stuff. I just put it up because I like to look at it.
Right.
And I don't know. It's
I
just
have
like,
my stuff on one wall of the living room, and I have, a bunch of Bret Hart.
nice.
I got Punker. I got RVD, Sabu, Rhea Ripley because I love her. Cactus Jack. I have like all three faces of Foley on Raw magazines. It's so sick on different ones. It's dope.
Nice.
I have a couple Dusty Rhodes. I have Cody Rhodes, Dustin.
Nice.
I have way too many autographs.
I look forward to seeing that
Way
when
too many,
it's
dude.
finally you'll have to go through it. I'd like to
Oh
see it.
yeah, dude. We'll definitely do that. And then in front of me on my TV stand, I have my autograph pops. I got some badass ones, dude. I got Diesel. I got Bret Hart, which obviously my favorite. Jake the Snake. I have a Randy Orton that's not signed. I am gonna send that away when he does the signing. I got a Razor Ramon. I have a Cody Rhodes signed, and I have a Mick Foley. All autograph pops. Dope.
So something to look for, and actually, I'd maybe we can do this next year, or if it happens at the end of the year. So I had bought a ticket. I ended up going because I didn't love the stars that were going. But at the Crown Plaza in Warwick, they do a fan fest, and it's primarily wrestling superstars. And I'm pissed because the first time I heard about it, they did it was last year, and I'd seen an ad for it in like September, but it happened in July, or like it happened in August, and I was like a month late. But I actually have the Kane figure that I have autographed. I have that not autographed. I've got two figures that I want autographed very badly. I've got a Sting.
Yeah.
And the Kane one, and I'm like, I'm gonna look for when they come close by.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go just to get them signed because I just would like to have that kind of memorabilia. And I missed Kane by a month, so I ended up just buying one because I said fuck it, whatever. But they did one in February, and it was like it was headlined by like Trish Stratus, Ray Bork, Scottie Pippen, not Scottie Pippen, the other one, Dennis Rodman.
Yeah.
So like
I saw
Shelton
that
Benjamin
one,
was
yeah.
there. Yeah. And I
saw that
didn't end up going because like I had a ticket, but I was like, I'm not going to pay for there's just no one here that interests me. But it's
right.
something
The
to
ticket
keep
just
in
gets
mind.
you in the door.
Yeah.
Everything else you have to pay for. Yeah.
That was the thing that sucks too. Yeah. It's like $20 for the ticket and then an extra 15 if you want 4 photos to make sure you get photos to get signed. And then each talent is between like 30 and like $60 just to stand in line and have them sign. I was like, that's just
crazy.
Unless there's someone that I'm dying to get like pen to paper, like I'm not gonna bother.
Yeah, there's only a few. Honestly, there's a Ric Flair piece I have that I want signed by him. It's Harley Race beating the absolute dog shit out of Ric Flair. And Harley Race, I have him autograph. I have his autograph on it. To get the Flair thing would make that piece just perfect, dude. I also have PWI. You remember Pro Wrestling Illustrated? It's like my favorite magazine ever.
Yeah.
So like they still do it. I love it. But I have the 1992 Ric Flair PWI 100 or the 91 one when he was number 1, and he's got the black robe on and he's got the championship belt, and I have that autograph, PSA and everything, dude. It's so dope.
Nice.
I got some cool stuff. I spent a lot of money on it. I have box stuff, dude. I went ham.
Yeah, that's what it comes. That's what ends up happening
during COVID, dude. I went ham in the auctions. I went ham a couple weeks ago with one too. I got a bunch of stuff coming.
COVID was cool because they had there was this thing called V Shout, and they started it. I think it was around before that, but they kind of it grew in popularity during COVID when you couldn't go to like autographs, like conventions to get shit autographs.
Right.
So they would have like a bunch of different wrestlers in other anime figures as well, like Chris Sabat, who did the voice of Vegeta. He was always on there. But basically, you would send in pieces, or you could buy technically a photo, an autograph, and they were usually relatively good priced. And that was I got a few. Actually, I think I only ended up getting 2. I had Sting pre-ordered, but that ended up getting canceled, which kind of sucked. But I ended up getting Britt Baker. I don't have it up yet, but I think I might put the Britt Baker one right here. It's just and it's not up is because it's not the photo that I had wanted, and instead she was just signing a bunch of that one famous match she had where she was like busted wide open. Her face is covered in blood. It's that sign. So I haven't put it up yet, but it might go in that little that beige spot right there. I'm redoing my office on tomorrow, so it might go there. But I also I saw that Danhausen was doing.
I have a Danhausen
was on there.
Yeah.
I ended up finding. Hold on, let me grab it really quick. I still can't believe I ended up finding this on eBay.
I love Danhausen, dude. I think he's hilarious, dude. His gimmick is original. He's pretty good in the ring. He's just entertaining to watch.
So I found this on eBay. It's Warhausen comic that was very limited. I mean, it's not anything like crazy valuable or anything.
Dope, dude.
But I just thought it was a cool piece, and I sent it into the V Shout and got I got Danhausen's autograph, and they do like little videos that show you them signing it, and they do like a shout out to you. So Danhausen's like, Joey B, your comic book is cursed. That's what I said, because like he looked at because I asked him to curse my comic book, and so that's what he said. And he's like, "That's what I said," and then he put it down. I was like, "All right, that's kind of funny."
Dude,
but yeah, it's shit like that was cool.
You want to see a couple of these autographs?
Yeah, what do you got?
Look at this. All right, so Chris Jericho original WWE promo.
Nice.
Right, tough to find. That's the old WWF promo. This is the Holly Race one I was talking about.
Oh damn!
Right, so that would be dope to have Ric Flair.
Yeah, yeah.
I got a weird HBK in a wife beater. I don't know why. I got another HBK in a t-shirt. I don't have like any like. One of my favorites. One of the
Orton. Is that Sheamus too? I could tell because he's glowing.
And here's 2 of my favorite things, dude. I saw this on one of the old Facebook pages I follow. Does like old school wrestling matches, and they like post pictures and stuff, and they posted this picture. I'm like, yo, I have that triple sign. And some of the guys I had to show them, dude, that's Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, and Jerry the King Lawler.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones, dude. It's impossible to get all those 3 on one.
Yeah. Are those going up too?
There's only a few. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then this, an original NWA program signed by Dusty Rhodes.
Wow.
Huh. Yeah. I have a bunch of Dusty stuff. As you know, I'm a big Dusty guy. I'm a big Rhodes fan. Like that's just it goes back to Dusty and Dustin, and I thought Dustin probably could have been a world champ at one point.
Yeah, if
that Goldust gimmick, he ran with it and he had a good time, and he probably had a longer career than he would have.
How do I put this?
Him out of the world title picture forever doing Goldust.
That gimmick had no right being as over and as great as it ended up being. But because of how professional and how talented, and
he turned that thing into something. And in the 90s, dude, he got so much heat. Dude, he got so much heat from everything, from the boys, from the fans, from the announcers. Dude, he did such a good job with that character.
And then he went to WCW and he flamed the shit out of him.
Right. It's unfortunate because I really do like this.
I would say you've seen that, right? The when he comes out and he does the 7 gimmick.
Yeah.
And as soon as he's in the ring, he's like, "Yep, this sucks. Screw this company. Screw this gimmick."
Dude, and then he did his TNA run was dope.
Yeah.
I don't know if you watched much of it, but when he had I forgot what his character was called, but it was pretty much a dark version of Goldust.
Mm-hmm.
It was pretty sick. He did some cool stuff.
He made that character his own, and that was hard to do with what the character actually was. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, he made that thing something that they didn't envision Goldust being over or being what he was. Like, I think they gave it to him kind of as like a rib.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? He must piss somebody off.
Well, it seems like Vince sorts for some reason, and maybe there's a story behind it that I don't know. But it seems like Vince. Yeah, I was gonna say it seems like he had an issue with Dusty Rhodes at some point. There was something
Well, Dusty was Mr. WCW.
Oh, that's
You know what I mean? So when he signed, he was just kind of like, "Oh, this is a WCW guy," like, you know, because Vince was trying to get away from the Southern wrestling thing. So
yeah,
that's why he ribbed Dusty with the polka dots, and Dusty got that over because Dusty's the man. Dusty is the goat. He's one of them. I think Brett's the goat, but we could talk about that another time. What do you think about the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre stuff as it continues on? Punk's getting in the ring soon.
I thought it was funny.
I thought it was good.
I thought it was good. I thought it was funny. I liked it. I liked that Drew comes out and starts getting all pissy about how, you know, I got a dislocated elbow and here I am. I'm on the show. And then up in the press box, there's Punk. And I want to just point this out since we're talking about Punk. And I don't know if you saw this from Monday Night Raw. For a guy who is getting as much shit as he's getting and as toxic as he is, and maybe he did this for good PR, maybe he did it for good press because he knew cameras were on him. But there was a young girl, and she was a Drew McIntyre fan, and she had a sign that said CM Poop with
poop and he
emoji,
signed it.
And he went up and signed it, took a picture and everything. And I just personally thought that for a guy that's as toxic and hates other people and is just as bad as he is, like, how do you hate that guy as a fan? A guy that, like, obviously maybe takes himself too seriously in the back, but, like, obviously doesn't take a lot of the other things too seriously. Right. Or are we just being fed more than what's happening? You know what I mean? Just food for thought. But it could have been for PR. Like, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a lamb and just
either way, he still made that girl's night.
Exactly. Like, whether or not
even if it's just for good press, it's still got done.
Exactly. But to kind of get back on track, I thought the angle was great. And of course, obviously, you knew when Drew gets up to the press box, CM Punk wasn't going to be there. Loved that there was a signed photo of Punk just sitting there in the press box. I thought that was great. And then he comes out and cuts a promo. I think it's great that they're pushing this storyline along.
Yeah.
Knowing that right now, I still think right now that's not Drew's next big feud.
I think it is, dude. I think that's the next thing. I don't think they have anything else for him, and I think it's Punk.
I think he's going to get
back.
I'm still convinced he's going to get Damian before Punk, and their feud's going to end up being for the World Heavyweight Championship.
No, I think Priest and Jay go back and forth for a little bit.
They might. It's possible. That is true because Jay is supposed to be like the top face, but I'm typically wrong. I've been pretty wrong the last couple weeks, so. You're probably right, but I would just like to see McIntyre.
I just think that's the way that I could see it going. You know what I mean? That Jay's not just going to get a 1 month push and off TV. Like, he'll be on.
I don't know. Because he's not going to beat Damian Priest because I don't think he's going to get over Damian. I don't know. He's supposed to be the top face. Like, it's unless maybe Finn costs him a shot, costs him the title, and that's how the Judgment Day breaks up.
Oh, maybe, They're breaking up soon.
Yeah.
I think we're seeing a lot of the fractions coming.
Oh, easily, very, very easily. In like one of the spots that we saw on Raw with which was weird too, the Patrick Mahomes spot with the Judgment Day and Logan Paul takes the rings and then pops JD McDonough.
Yeah.
Some interesting stuff on that too, if you saw it because I said it as I watched it. I looked over at my brother-in-law who was up.
Why is Pat helping out the heel?
Yeah, I was like, why is Mahomes playing aiding a heel character? Like, he's in Kansas City. He's the hero of Kansas City right now, and he's like,
siding with weird.
Heels?
It was a weird choice. Sense. But you know what McAfee said on the show? He said that Pat knew. He goes, Patty Mahomes knew that he was going to miss and hit JD McDonough. That's why he knows everything. Like, you know what I mean? Trying to play it off because at first he was like, oh, I don't know how this looks and why he's doing this because it doesn't make sense to have him side with a baby against the baby faces. But then again, he's Pat Mahomes. He can do whatever he wants. Kansas City, he's not going to get booed anyway.
So the news I heard that came out of that is that it was actually a sponsored spot. Logan Paul wanted to do a sponsored spot for Prime with Pat Mahomes. So so it wasn't even a WWE creative call. It was a like TKO thing. that it was to kind of promote Prime, the owner of Prime, rubbing up against or rubbing elbows with, I guess it's a weird way to say it, with Pat Mahomes kind of thing. So that's why he was aligning with the heel, because it was more of a Prime thing. I mean, it is,
I don't hate it.
It was just, I guess I don't know, for me looking at it though, like I was confused, and I think that's a bad way to go about
it was
doing
strange.
that. Yeah.
It was definitely strange. It didn't make sense, but it didn't really affect anything in the storyline. So it's inconsequential.
The actual action in the ring was hilarious. I thought that segment where Jay ducks it and then goes behind Logan Paul and Finn Balor and is just looking at him like, oh shit, and the facial expressions.
Jay is always over the top with his emotion.
Finn's got the Yeet glasses on and he's kind of looking like, and then he looks over and then looks back and sees Jay's right there, and then they start going at it again. And I'd like
to see Finn get a push.
I firmly believe it's coming. He re-signed. I think in good faith, he's a Triple H guy. I think he will get a push. I don't think he's going to get a WWE Championship push. I think he'll hold the World Heavyweight Championship at some point within the next 2 years. Whether it be for a month, a couple months, I think he'll get a run.
I don't think
he
gets an extensive run.
No, I don't either, but I think Triple H will reward him for sticking around. Just like Drew McIntyre is going to get a run. Seth Rollins resigned, so he's probably going to get a shot at some point. But I think,
don't see McIntyre getting a run, though.
I firmly think the next heel World Heavyweight Champion will be Drew McIntyre.
Really? I think it might be Punk. I think Punk might turn.
I've heard that too, but I think he's one of those guys where he could turn.
Yeah,
he could turn, but he's never going to be a heel. The fans are going to cheer him wherever he goes. It's like when they tried to turn Becky Lynch and people were still cheering
but you're
her.
talking about one of the more talented dudes. I mean, The Rock got booed. You know what I mean? Punk is just as good as The Rock.
I'm not saying he's not good on the mic. I'm just saying I think no matter what, the fans are going to cheer CM Punk, regardless of whether he calls everyone idiots, dumb, and goes on. He's been cheered for 10 years. I think
he's got a lot of ammo to turn on the fans.
Yeah, we'll see
if there's one wrestler that has a lot of ammo to turn on the fans, it's Punk.
We'll see what happens.
I don't know if he will, but I think he's getting the title soon. He's their biggest star on Raw.
It's possible.
It makes sense to put the title on your biggest star.
I think he will get it. Yeah, I agree. I think he will get it. I just don't think he's going to get it as a heel. I think he'll be a face champion.
Very possible. Very possible. I just think he's definitely getting it soon.
Yeah, I think those are three people I think within the next year to year and a half-ish you'll see with the World Heavyweight Championship, and that's Drew McIntyre, CM Punk, and Finn Balor. Not necessarily in that order.
Yeah. Right. You think Jey Uso gets it?
I really don't. I really don't. I can't see them putting it on like this. The next person after Seth Rollins who holds that championship, I can't see them.
I'm not just saying now. I'm saying in the next 6 months.
I mean, maybe.
I don't think in a year he's still in the main event picture, but I think in the next 6 months he is.
Maybe.
And I can see him getting a short run.
Because
I don't think they want to switch the title over that many times, though.
Well, so that's funny you say that, because I was about to say I think that's the one they would flip-flop like that. Because we know, the WWE Universal, just the WWE champion. I think I would just prefer to say WWE champion at this point. That title has been on Roman Reigns' waist for, what was it, like 3 years, 4 years?
Pretty much.
And I think we can all agree Cody's most likely getting a run at least through SummerSlam, if not to WrestleMania.
I think he gets to Mania.
So if you're gonna have one title,
Mania, but I think he gets a long run.
For sake of argument, though, a long run. If you're gonna have one main roster title that's basically being held onto one top guy, and you have a second main roster title on a different show, I think that's the one where maybe someone gets a 4-month run, but then someone takes it, gets a 2-month run, then someone gets a 1-month run, and then it flips back. That one's probably going to be passed along a little bit more because they still needs to be a prize that some of these top guys are going for. And there's a lot of parity right below the Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes level, and the Seth Rollins. There's a lot of parity with those other top level 1B superstars.
I think Damian Priest flips this thing within the next month or two. I don't see him getting a long title run. I think they rewarded him, you know what I mean, and for his growth and sticking around and being who he is, being loyal to the WWE. And then I just see somehow CM Punk's getting this title, and he's going to hold on to it for probably 6 months or so.
Well, that's I mentioned it before, so I think that he's
After
beating.
SummerSlam, he'll hold it through.
I think he's beating Jay.
Yeah.
And then I think his next title defense will be against Drew McIntyre at the I said Clash at the Castle, which was
right,
so
but
off.
that's what I'm saying. I
don't
see there being an in-between between him and Punk. I don't think they want to flip the title that many times.
See, and I think
it's already going to be a short title run. I don't think they want to go short title run, decent title run, short title run.
But see, where I think we differ is I think it would be short title run, but he gets one championship defense, loses it to Drew. Drew holds it probably through SummerSlam if he gets it in what we'll say May, end of May, early June. He holds it through end of August, and then CM Punk has it through maybe Survivor Series. You know what I mean? And then
but I don't think they can keep that title off of Punk after. There's no way he's not leaving SummerSlam without that title.
That's what I'm saying. I think SummerSlam would be where Punk possibly gets his win.
I thought you said
Drew.
it after, like Drew holds it through that.
Yeah, because I think like if it's gonna be like Drew and CM Punk, the payoff to that feud is gonna be at like a SummerSlam. Like it's such a high profile feud. Like it's not gonna be something that gets blown off at like a Money in the Bank pay-per-view. So the way I see it is at the next live event that's in Scotland is a major pay-per-view, and I think McIntyre is going to get rewarded with an actual championship win in front of his home crowd, not lose it that night. Like they're going to, hey man, thanks for re-signing. You're the hottest heel, one of the hottest heels in the business. Like here's you're going to get a run. I think that ends at SummerSlam against CM Punk. I think their feud pays off at SummerSlam with CM Punk going over and winning that World Heavyweight Championship. And then maybe Drew gets it back later on in the year. You know, maybe Finn gets introduced then. Maybe there's another hot heel at that point.
Rollins comes back.
Exactly. Rollins comes back and lays a claim to the title. Feuds with CM Punk for the title after CM Punk takes it off Drew McIntyre.
So that's how I see that. I see Punk holding it until Rollins is back. I think Rollins is probably out maybe till the Rumble.
I think maybe Survivor Series. I think he might be able to come back.
Series?
I mean, it kind of depends on if he's ready to go and where they're at as a roster. If they need a spark or if ratings are down, they could bring him back. Because you got to think, I think in October, Raw goes to Netflix. So around that time, I don't
remember the date, but maybe, yeah.
I think it's October-ish. Raw. Oh, wait a minute. That's when.
I think it's December, right?
Yeah, I think you're right. Because I think October is when Fox, SmackDown's leaving Fox. Now I think about it. I think that's when SmackDown goes to USA. So maybe it is December. But it's around that time when Raw is going to be going to Netflix. So they're going to need something to get the casual fan to want to invest in Netflix if they don't have it. Or to just
January
open
2025, Netflix gets WWE.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's even later than I thought.
They get it right in time for the WrestleMania push.
Yeah, actually, that's a smart move.
Yeah. They get it right at the Rumble. They get the biggest pay-per-views right off the bat.
And again, this is my chair. Because it just happened again. I'm just going to point out every time. I'll let you know if I fart on and it's loud enough to hear. But yeah,
they get the biggest pay-per-views right off the bat. Smart.
Yes. They won't even need a rub because they'll already have it with the run for with the run up to WrestleMania.
Right. How do you feel about Becky Lynch holding that title and what she's doing with the title?
I mean, we talked about it last week. I think it was a safe play. I think they were scared to give it to Liv right away.
Yeah, I think they dropped the ball.
I still think Becky's going to drop it to Liv. I think that their thought must have been they needed to see more out of Liv coming back from her injury. They wanted to see if she can hold fan interest, if she can hold the idea of her being a champion. Becky was the smart play. And I mean, I personally like, because supposedly Charlotte Flair is in France. There's some other rumors about France I do want to get to before we end the show, because I did see something right before we came on that got my hair standing up a little bit. I don't want to see Charlotte or Becky Lynch hold main roster titles anymore. At least not right now. Like, you gotta grow other talent. And they started that with Becky when she dropped the NXT championship to Lyra Valkyria. Valkyria? I think it's Lyra Valkyria.
I don't understand the Becky Lynch thing. I get the idea of a safe play, but I don't even think it was a safe play. I don't think she's that over right now. I don't think she's at the top of her game. I don't think the fans really want to see it. I don't want to see it. I would much rather see Liv Morgan or somebody else get another a shot at it. I don't want to see Becky Lynch that much. You shoved her down our throats for a few years. I'm just kind of over it. You know what I mean? Give me some time.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too is it makes it so now you have Becky Lynch, who is arguably one of the most celebrated women's superstars of this decade. So she can't just drop the title to whoever is around. So now when she drops the title, it has to be to the right challenger because you don't want to make her look weak because she's still Becky Lynch. Where if you put it on Liv Morgan, you're in a a battle royale. Like Becky Lynch didn't have to lose cleanly in that. You put it on Liv, and now she can drop it to a up and coming NXT star that you just brought up or you just called up, and it's believable. And it doesn't really hurt Liv's credibility because she's not necessarily a mega women's superstar, but she is a former champion and has performed or been in those spots, so she's still believable as holding that championship. But my guess, Liv gets it eventually, probably close to when Rhea Ripley's ready to come back, and then they feud over the title that Rhea never really lost. Rhea will get it back and then continue her meteoric, rise to the women's division.
I think Liv gets it sooner than later.
That's possible. I could see that too.
I do, just because I think they realized the fan reaction to her not getting the title was a lot different than I think they assumed it would be.
Yeah.
I think they felt people would be indifferent because it was Becky Lynch. And then when everybody was kind of up in an uproar that Liv didn't get it and they feel like they missed the mark, I think WWE's like, oh, man, maybe we missed the mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they're good. I mean, Triple H is good for that. He corrects his mistakes. He talks about it. You know what I mean? He's like, the fans are the most important thing to this program. We have to listen to them. He goes, do we listen to everything? No, but we also know when there's an important decision to be made and we have to fix it, we have to fix it.
Like, just to sprinkle in some more news, the biggest gripe the fans have had with the WWE over the last 5 years is the entrance themes being god awful. And supposedly WWE is aware that fans hate the entrance themes that are being created. And that's as far as the article went, that WWE is aware that we hate the what's coming out from, I forget the name of the group too, but it was a stupid name too. Even worse than CFO. Who was it before CFO? I want to say Jack Johnson. That sounds dumb because I know Jack Johnson is the making banana pancakes guy, but it was Jake or John, something Johnston, and he created some of the best. Jim Johnson, thank you. Some of the most iconic entrance themes of all time.
Yes.
And then CFO took over, and CFO wasn't great, but there was some good ones. And now it's I can't remember the name. I saw it 10 times. But they're aware that, and it's one of those things where they're aware that the fans are very negative towards the entrance music, and hopefully that also starts changing as well.
Yeah, I think there's a fine line to draw. I think AEW tries too hard to have their fans sing along.
Yeah.
But I feel like when it's done naturally, it's dope as hell. And theme music, dude, is so important to the wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
It is so important. So
yeah, because you have to feel it. Supposedly Randy Orton recently actually nixed music that they had presented to him to change it up, because he did say while he was out that he thought that it was time for voices to get retired because it just didn't amp him up. I think Burning My Light should come back because I thought that was I loved that entrance music. I loved
I could see him wanting to go in a different direction though.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's just me being a nostalgic mark. You know what I mean? I just loved that specific.
I agree, dude. I'm a huge Orton guy. So
yeah, I know that. But yeah, Burning My Light was. I still listen to that song just in general. It was just a great song. And then Voices to me just is, I don't know. It's very generic-ish and basic, and that one's never done it for me. Not that I'm not a big Orton guy, but I love Orton for who he is and what he does. I just never got fully behind him as a fan kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, he was
Side note too, it's cool to see Triple H came out. This is probably weeks ago too. I'm so late on this, but Triple H came out to the game Motorhead entrance as opposed to the
Yes.
King of Kings, which I hated that he went to the King of Kings as like his entrance. Like, no, dude,
I love that. Dude.
never. The King of Kings is fine, but like his like the Motorhead game entrance, when that hits, you're like, fuck. Like, oh, all right, here we go. Like, all right. It's almost like the gong or the bell for the Undertaker. Like, you just hear that guitar chord and you're
That's
like,
what I'm saying, dude.
It's
like,
time to play the game.
There's certain things that you hear that trigger a response, and it's like really important for these fans to get. Like, I think it's just as important as a lot of stuff for the superstar to get over as the theme music.
Yep. I 100% agree.
I think it helps like a ton. Like when you hear that glass shatter, what do you know? You know what I mean? Like when you hear that guitar string from Hogan, you know who it is.
Or this guy right here.
Right.
When the fire exploded and you heard the piano, you were like, oh God, someone's gonna die.
Right. It's just Cactus Jack when you hear, you know what I mean? Or Mankind when you hear the screeching. Like
Yep.
There's just iconic moments that when you hear it, you know something big is gonna happen.
Yep.
And I think they're right. They've been missing that with a lot of the newer talent. Not so much the older guys, but like the newer talent.
Yeah, they're lacking that so bad. It sucks. It really does.
Right. It does. Because it's a missed opportunity. It really is. Like you see it. Like sometimes the music gets guys over somehow. You know what I mean? Like it works.
For me, that's what got me into Baron Corbin in his first run. Now everyone has their opinion. Tommy Vext, the old lead singer of Bad Wolves, I think was the name of the band. I don't really listen to him in a while. But his original song, the I Bring the Darkness, I was so into that like I became a Baron Corbin fan because I just wanted to hear him come out and just hear that song enter. And side note, real funny story about me. When I was at basic training back in 2017, I'm an awful shot. I'll be the first one to tell you I am not a good shot when it comes to like shooting like a automatic rifle. And I'd never shot when I went to basic training. And like you need to, when you're shooting, you kind of have to like clear your mind and just focus on your breathing. And what helped me become a more accurate shot was singing the I Bring the Darkness theme song to myself in my head. That helped regulate my breathing and help me stop like tapping the trigger and pulling the trigger. And, so like that's the kind of thing I'm talking about though, is like, it gets you in more ways than just like, wow, I love wrestling. And here comes my favorite guy. Like you feel a connection and just like a passion for just I'm a big entrance guy.
Yeah.
I'll go through watching old wrestling like shows just to watch entrances and then skip through the match. As dumb as that might sound, like I just love seeing, like I was recently watching some of the, I don't know if you're familiar with, you probably are familiar with Poppy. Some of the stuff that she did in NXT. So she's like, you'd have to look into it because it's like a really weird thing. But she was this weird like person, character, persona. And she ended up starting to do like metal music. And she had like a partnership with NXT probably about 5 or 6 years ago, where she did a couple performances live. And one of her songs was called Scary Mask that Io Shirai would come out to. And so she did like live entrances with Io, and it's just like watching it, I'm like, this gets me so jazzed to like watch a wrestling match.
Well, I mean, it's like, before we get up, but it's like the Bray Wyatt stuff, like that entrance was unbelievable.
The first
time you see it, like,
the first time, dude, I actually am starting to kind of get goosebumps now thinking about the first time I saw the Fiend entrance. Like
not even just the Fiend, just the original Wyatt when they came out and they were that family, dude. The NXT stuff and then like the early WWE stuff, like it was cool as hell, dude.
Yeah,
like that, it was different. It was awesome. It was great. Would Bray be the same without that entrance and theme, Matt? There's
probably not.
That's a piece missing.
Yeah,
like, that's a piece of the whole puzzle.
The rocking chair and the
hopefully
the
WWE fix it. Hopefully they fix it like they're kind of hinting at that. Something's up.
Have a story for that later on in the show. I've derailed us so badly as it is.
All right, let's get through the draft quick. All right, night 2. The draft results. Raw has the first pick. They draft Imperium, Gunther, Ludwig, and Kaiser. I don't like that. I feel like Gunther should be whatever.
I was hoping Gunther would be on SmackDown.
Right.
He should be the heel. He should be the heel that feuds with Cody Rhodes long term.
Ooh, I don't know about long term, but yeah, I get it.
Well, Cody's got to have a long term title reign, and Gunther is the perfect heel to dethrone the perfect face.
Yeah,
in my
that's
opinion.
fair. He's an old school guy too, and it would make sense. Him and Cody would be great. That would be a great feud.
Yup, it would be perfect, but I digress because it's not.
So I mean, it sucks that he was. I feel like Gunther should have been drafted alone. I feel like he should have been drafted
Especially
with
'cause
Imperium. He's a big enough star to
and
not
they already
do it.
split Giovanni Vinci from the group, so like it's not even
Right.
like it's it's
Gunther should have been drafted solo.
Yep,
in my
I
opinion,
agree.
he's a big star. He should get the star treatment.
Yep,
You know what I mean?
I 100%
Should have been
agree.
Raw selects Gunther, and then you know what I mean? Like huge, or Raw selects Imperium, right? And they don't specify Gunther, and SmackDown comes out and drafts Gunther, like you know what I mean? Steals one, but instead SmackDown takes Jade Cargill, second overall on Monday night. Which okay, I guess you know maybe that's your answer to the Bianca Belair draft. I don't know. I don't understand the theory behind all these.
So
draft
Jade
picks, the way they
is
went.
Jade's supposed to be larger than life,
She's a big star.
and I just it's one of those things where like she was clearly like she was announced as like the big SmackDown signing like 2 months ago.
She should have been number one.
But like not even that. But if you're gonna sign her and make this big deal about it, not even a month or two ago, and then have a draft, like you're really
That's
gonna
what I'm saying.
flip-flop
She
the
should have been-
brands now. Like she was clearly gonna stay on SmackDown anyway. So
Right.
like there should have been a stipulation where if they made this big deal about stars re-signing or signing to a brand over the last month or two, like new contracts within 3 months can't be transferred.
But then you're not
Like,
even. Then nobody's getting drafted. But all you had to do was Bianca Belair gets drafted 1, Jade Cargill gets drafted 2,
yeah.
and
That's
then you
true,
put
too.
her in that stratosphere. You know what I mean? And then that starts off your draft. Okay, we answered. We got the 2 big woman stars. Now let's go after the men's pool. Boom.
Yep.
You know what I mean? If Roman Reigns isn't in, then that's what you can go and do. I still feel like the men and women should be 2 different drafts just because you have so many superstars left out and it doesn't make sense. Like all these guys are just getting drafted to the same teams.
Yeah.
What's the point? You know what I mean? Like, you could have just kept the shows the way they were. Raw gets Damage Control. So Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi Sane.
Raw makes 1 pick, gets 4 superstars.
Right.
Like tell me, make it make sense, please.
That's why I don't like the groups. I feel like, you know what I mean? You should have to draft them. Unless it's a tag team. Like, a tag team's fine, but a group,
like an yeah.
A group should just not be drafted and just go onto a show, or they get drafted individually. But you got to make the draft mean something. Like, the whole draft, like, the whole roster should be drafted. It shouldn't just be random. We don't know who's getting drafted, who's in the pool, who's not in the pool. If one's high, if day 2's higher, if you're not in this pool because you were, you know.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me. I don't get it. And then SmackDown drafts Kevin Owens.
Also criminally low. Like criminally low.
Going, you're telling me that Kevin Owens isn't more valuable than Damage Control?
Or
Or
yeah.
Jay. You know, like come on.
Like Adam Pearce looked at his list of superstars and saw Kevin Owens and Damage Control and was like, I can get one of the best over mid to upper tier card wrestlers on the roster, or I can take a fading faction of arguably I actually like all 4 superstars in Damage Control. For being honest, I am a big fan of that group. But like
I'm a fan of them individually, not as a group.
Fair enough. That's actually, I very much agree with that. Although I like Dakota Kai in the group because she gets to be more active, which I think she should be.
Fair.
But when she was alone, she was kind of forgotten. But yeah, again, not to derail this even more. It just make it make sense, please.
It doesn't make sense because then night 2, the second round seems like it was more valuable than the first round.
Yes,
first pick in the second round, CM Punk.
Like, how was he not the number 1? He is the money maker, and you picked him.
He is one of your biggest draws. How is he going in the second round of the second night?
How didn't he go in the first night? That makes no sense. Make it make sense.
It doesn't make. And then SmackDown drafts the Pride, Bobby Lashley, Street Profits, and BFAB. Whatever.
The former champion. I mean, you
like,
get
Bobby Lashley again should be drafted on his own.
Sure, also true. But you get championship pedigree.
Yeah, no, he's a superstar. He should be drafted alone, though. It should be Bobby Lashley gets drafted to SmackDown, and then the Pride gets drafted later or whatever.
Yeah,
like the rest of the guys. You know what I mean? Like you keep him there, but Bobby Lashley should have been drafted alone. And then Raw gets Braun Strowman, the returning Braun Strowman.
Side note: want to point out this is the last match of the Dusty Classic.
Hall and Nash
versus
is that
D-Generation X?
Oh man,
it's not actually D-Generation X because I don't think they have like the
right.
But I'm actually interested. Well, we're not going to see it because they're not doing entrances, but I'd love to see if you pair them in a tag team in 2K23.
If they do
Yeah.
yeah.
But
You should have kept
maybe next. Well, at the Dusty Rhodes Classic, they don't. It didn't give me the option for entrances.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll work on it for next week. Maybe there'll be a surprise for next week.
And then the second round, last draft pick, number 4, Tiffany Stratton.
I haven't seen much. For me, I haven't seen much out of her. I don't know if she's going to be a star or not. She's being pushed as one, so
they're really trying to push her to the moon.
Yeah, they are.
Like, really. So then Sami Zayn had a title defense, wins, obviously. Disqualification, which was weird. Like a weird choice. I don't get that choice, but
I think they more or less they're trying to protect Bronson Reed because he's still being pushed as like a big mid-card star.
Yeah.
So I think bringing Gable into it and causing the distraction and then ultimately the disqualification.
Yeah, that's fair.
Protects everybody.
Yeah, keeps Strong tough, keeps Gable in the eye.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense. Yeah. I guess if you look at it like that, I just didn't like that. Sammy's early in his run here. He probably should have got a squeak win or something weird.
Yeah, instead of continuous DQs.
Right. And then we get the third round draft picks, night 2. So they draft the LWO with the number 1 pick. That's Mysterio.
5 or 6 people in one freaking pick.
Yeah, Joe Quinn Wild, Zelina Vega, Dragon Lee, and Carlito. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
6, yeah. And I think Carlito turned on him at the end of the night or something like that. Like I
yeah.
Like,
and then SmackDown then returns fire with an LWO of their own. Legado del Fantasma, whatever they say. Santos Escobar, Angel, Berto, and Electra Lopez. So they get a group after Raw gets a group. Whatever. It is what it is. This makes sense for the third round, but then the third round doesn't make sense because Drew McIntyre is drafted after these guys.
Make it make sense.
Like, how is Drew McIntyre? Like, how does SmackDown not look at Drew McIntyre after Raw drafts Punk and go, we want that guy?
Yep. But we know why. We know why.
I get it.
Because it's predetermined.
Do better.
Yeah, exactly.
Do better.
Exactly.
Do better. Just do better. You used to do better. Do better.
We already know that this is scripted, but don't make me sit there and realize wow, this is very scripted. I want to pretend.
At least give me a little suspension of disbelief.
Yeah. Make me think wow, maybe you guys don't know what you're doing, and then I realize they don't know what they're doing by knowing what they're doing. If that makes sense.
Right. It was just. This is the only time I'll ever say a Vince McMahon thing was better than a Triple H thing booking wise, but Vince McMahon booked those early drafts like gangbusters, dude. You know what I mean? He's superstar after superstar, went heavy.
Yep.
It was cool. You can do that, and all these guys can end up where we know they're going to end up, but you do it in a fashion where we don't expect it.
I think what does it too, though, is NXT right now, in my opinion, isn't very hot. I don't think there is a ton of big names right now.
I got a solution. Keep them out of it.
But that's so. So what I was trying to get at though is some of those older drafts that like when Finn Balor went, those were moments where you were like, wow, this guy's kind of a star. Wow, he's getting called up. But now it's right, Carmelo Hayes, I think
wasn't drafted. Yeah,
you know I think
you can take guys that are ready to come up. You know the guys at the top of the card. You know what I mean?
But those are surprise draft picks. Carmelo Hayes, don't. And maybe it's because I'm a Finn Balor fan, but there were other guys when Shinsuke got drafted and when Kevin Owens came up, it just was different than Braun Breaker getting drafted and then squashing Cedric Alexander. You know what I mean? Or Carmelo Hayes, getting drafted and then botching a Cody Cutter and basically almost ruining the WWE champ, which that might have been Cody's fault too, but that's a different story for a different day. It's not the same. NXT isn't the same as it used to be. It doesn't look like this anymore, and I don't like it.
Right.
I wish they'd go back to how it used to be. They can now.
It's tough because the talent they're signing isn't going to NXT.
Yeah, that's true too.
You know what I mean? Most of it's going right to the main roster. So they don't have the time like they had with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and Shinsuke Nakamura and Samoa Joe. Like they had a run where they had all this incredible talent in NXT, and that was able to get the other guys over too, just by having
Yeah.
those guys headline the shows. Like,
Yep.
I mean, shit, I don't know, because even the early days of NXT with Bo Dallas, that was
Yes.
so dope.
Yeah.
Like
I was about to say that. Yeah.
in Ascension, like
Yeah.
those
Yeah,
guys sucked when they got to the
those
main
things-
roster, but they
Yeah.
were cool. Like they were cool. I
Their
liked them.
entrance was great too. I like their
Right.
music a lot.
They were almost like they were built up to be the Legion of Doom in the new
Yeah,
school.
that's what they were basically. That's
Yeah.
what the gimmick was.
It was weird, but it was good. I liked it. Like I actually really liked them.
But
Then we
instead,
get-
now we got Pretty Deadly.
Right. It's just yeah.
I hate them.
I mean, you always had that with what's his face? You had Fandango down there. Fandango
and
down
Tyler
there with Tyler
Yeah, but they
Breeze.
were funny
Tyler
though.
Breeze,
Like Pretty
yeah.
Deadly isn't funny. Like their shtick for me doesn't
That's
work.
fair.
You know,
That's
so that's why I'm like, I just why do we keep
This
but
is
they
different
were-
strokes for different folks, though. Some people might
Yeah.
like it. And then for the 5th round of the WWE draft, we have the New Day going to Raw. How are they
Which
not
again-
higher?
Yep. Yeah.
And
I
then
s-
you have SmackDown getting your favorite tag team, Pretty Deadly. Raw gets Laya Valkyria. I'm gonna mess that up. And then SmackDown drafts Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell. Just a weird round. Like I just don't understand. Like again, it makes no sense. It's bad storytelling. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
None of this. There's no rhyme or reason. There's no strategy. There's no nothing. At least make it look like you tried. You literally just threw like nothing out there.
My guess is I think we're probably supposed to believe that each round had a pool of superstars to pick from.
Then they should have made that clear.
But but that's the only thing that makes sense as to why like CM Punk goes like in the second round on the second or the third round of the second night.
Yeah.
Drew's in the fourth. Like it just it. I'm gonna say it again. Make it make sense because I can't understand it.
No, yeah, it literally just doesn't make sense on why like these guys were taken on this night or this late.
Mhm.
And the guys that were early make no sense because they're not superstars and you're not even pushing them like they were big deal draft picks. Like, if you're gonna make an early pick, then they should be a big deal. Like they're a first round pick.
Yep.
Make it be a first round pick. But the 6th round was weird too. It was the Final Testament, which was obviously I actually enjoy them. Carrying Cross, their Authors of Pain, Paul Ellering, who I think is an underrated manager in the history of wrestling, in Scarlet.
That was my dog, by the way. If you just heard a
I heard
pop, yeah. My
I
wife
heard
must
him.
be home, so he's all excited.
Can't blame him. But the 6th round, those guys going. So am I not supposed? And then DIY goes to SmackDown. One of your premier tag teams. What?
Yeah, I mean,
They're in the title picture,
and they're in the 6th round.
right?
Eh,
And then
eh.
Big Bronson Reed goes after them. Who the hell
Who's
cares
been
about-
heavily featured
like?
on like it.
Who the hell's writing this? This is bad. And then Blair Davenport goes to SmackDown.
Yeah,
Again, it makes no sense.
the shock
Like-
pick for like the women's division.
Just horrible, dude. Just bad writing. I don't know. I didn't like Raw this week. I didn't think it was great. I don't think it was bad, but I don't think it was good. I thought
No,
it could have been better on the go home show to a pay-per-view.
yeah,
Just my opinion. I feel like go home shows should be big.
it's the WrestleMania lull. They tried to spice
Yep.
it up with a draft. It didn't hit. It was bad. It was it was just all around. It was really bad. It's not what you want to see coming out of WrestleMania.
Right. They dropped the ball. They
And
dropped
it's
the ball.
And it's kind of what I was
Shocker.
worried about with The Rock not being heavily involved and The Rock and Reigns not being heavily involved in the storyline. Like, what were they going to write coming out of it? And it's not looking
Right.
great right now.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It took them forever to get Cody Rhodes a match. It took whatever, you're gonna have the tournament and stuff, but like he was just out there like throwing his spiel out there for like 3 weeks in a row, and fans were getting tired of it. And like WWE fans very finicky.
Yeah.
Like they will turn on anybody in a second. It's remarkable how fast they turn on people.
Yeah.
Like Cody Rhodes, you should not be sick of Cody Rhodes yet. Like the dude hasn't even had a chance to defend his title, and you're already complaining. Why? Why are you complaining?
I did see a meme that I had to kind of lift an eyelash up. Swerve Strickland has defended his title, I think it was 3 times in a week, compared to Cody, who's defended it 0 times in 4.
Right.
I mean, there's a point there. Like, you do need to give him something to do.
Right. Like
You
there
have
has to be some kind of angle going on.
he can't keep just coming out and talking like. But again, I think they're being careful. I think they
Yes.
want to stretch it. I saw earlier that it's an interesting, very sharp left-hand turn from like a Vince pick having him wrestle AJ Styles, because
Yep.
AJ Styles isn't going to. You're not going to watch it to be like, oh my god, I have to see this Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles match, because there's so much juice behind it. But they booked it because it's going to be just a great wrestling match.
Yeah.
And so it's like a thing.
Right.
It's kind of looking into the booking mind of Triple H, where he's not necessarily looking to generate the most buzz and the most revenue right now. He just wants to put on a great show in general, kind of content wise. So, I mean, I will be watching Backlash because I just want to see. I'm very interested to see what they do. I mean, we'll be watching all the live events, but in particular, I'm watching Backlash because I just want to see, with the very lackluster build, what they still end up pulling off.
Quality of the matches has to be good.
Yeah.
Because the storytelling leading up hasn't been great.
Yeah. I wholeheartely agree.
Like, it just hasn't been great, like you're saying. Like, it's lackluster at best.
I just don't think they have anything that they've, like all the storylines that they have going, the payoffs aren't happening right now. So that's why we're not getting any kind of big matches or big storyline matches, because there's just, it's the long-term booking thing,
I feel like they should have saved the Intercontinental title switch to this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And, who is Logan? Is Logan on Backlash?
I don't
know.
think so.
I don't know. Do we have that card? But before we get to that, hold on. WWE released a bunch of talent today. Did you see?
No, did they?
Yep. So WWE has released Drew Gulak.
Oh, well, that one we knew was coming.
As well as 9 other talents, including Ezekiel Balogan. I don't even know who that is. Julian Baldy, Trey Bearhill, Daryl Mason, Vlad Pavlenko, Kaya Saint, Valentina Faraz, as well as Emma Maria Diaz and Keyshawn LaFleur. So they're pretty much NXT and lower.
I was going to say, it sounds like they just trimmed a lot of excess roster off of NXT.
The only thing that tells me is that they're building to sign up their developmental again. Because that's the only time they ever release talent is when they're going to have a big signing soon. When they sign like 4 or 5 guys.
Yeah.
Which I love doing, because it's always 1 or 2 stars that you like don't know, but they turn out to be.
When you think about it, though, like they kind of already did that. I think maybe we're just seeing it in reverse. I mean, they just signed Tama Tonga and who's the other Fatu brother? Is it Joseph or something like that? Or Jonathan? I forget the other new member of the bloodline, but
see, I feel like those guys could have benefited from NXT.
I think Tama Tonga, I don't think so. No, because he's so over from New Japan Wrestling. I mean, he's literally been the leader of the Bullet. Like, he's one of those, like, this was an AEW signing for the WWE, where they're not going to ease him into the American crowd, because he's going to be a guy who's going to bring enough of those like kind of indie darling eyes into the brand, where like they're just going to be it's probably an experiment to see like, hey, listen, like, can he do it on the big stage? Like, because I don't watch a lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling. Like, I know who Tama Tonga is because like I read articles about him all the time, because it's just he's always doing something. Especially, I mean, he's been the leader of the Bullet Club in New Japan for, it seems like, forever. God, I would love to see like I'd love to see like a Finn, AJ, and Tama Tonga faction in the WWE, even if just for a couple months. just to see 3 like OG leaders of the Bullet Club just together in the WWE. Call it the Copper Bullet Club, whatever the heck the opposite of what they're calling it in AEW.
Yeah, I get it. I wouldn't mind it.
Just be like a mark thing for me. Like,
I think a lot of people actually feel that way, though.
Yeah.
They would want that. Like, I feel like that's a popular thing.
If you get it, you get it.
Yeah, right. And I think it's like a gift to everybody. And then if not, then it's just a good group for people.
Yep.
Like, no matter what, it's a win-win because they're going to put on good stuff. Like, they're going to give you good content. I think you're right about that. I'm trying to look at the Backlash card. All right, I have it pulled up. No, I'm just trying to get to the beginning of it. We have Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. I don't see how the Bloodline loses.
But I don't see how Randy Orton and Kevin Owens lose either.
Right.
But I think it's the Bloodline will, to continue the juice, there'll probably be some kind of heel interference or something.
And they can't just lose right off of the Roman Reigns loss. You know what I mean?
And I think if it's
right down the toilets.
If it's Solo and Tama, it's a really good way to get them a lot of like good, like not good press or anything, but like just build up a lot of like momentum behind them if they get a big win over Kevin Owens and RKO.
Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen, whether it's a dirty win or whatever. But I think they get the win. And then WWE Tag Team Women's Championship match: the Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
Well, I mean, who's going to win this?
So one of two things could happen: it's either Jade Cargill and Bianca win, or they lose because of something one of them did, and then they turn on each other and start a feud.
I think that's way too early to
you think so?
Yeah.
You think they go in the route of tag team and then split?
Yeah, I think that's the best way to get them a storyline behind the split, because I think they ultimately want these two in a match, maybe a SummerSlam,
right?
Instead of WrestleMania.
Yeah. This is a big money women's match.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm not a big Bianca fan, but I want to see this match. I like Jade. I think Jade is. They'd put on a show. Those guys.
Gals.
So yeah, they're obviously going to take that title match. And then you have Bayley putting her title on the line for the first time versus Naomi and Tiffany Stratton. I don't think Bayley loses.
No, I don't think she loses this early either. I had to stop because I thought, maybe there's a chance that she could lose to Tiffany Stratton. No offense to Naomi, but I don't think she's losing the title. I don't think she's winning another singles championship, but
not anytime soon.
Yeah, but I think it's easily going to be Bayley going over here.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're right about that. Then we get the World Heavyweight Championship: Damian Priest versus main event Jey Uso. I think it's Damian Priest.
Yeah, I just don't see Damian Priest losing this match.
It would be a surprise. It'd be a nice surprise, but
unless someone like Finn Balor turns on the Judgment Day, breaks up the Judgment Day, and costs him the match. It's the only way.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't see him losing either, though. Not to Jay. I don't think Jay's the guy. I don't see it.
No, I think it's Drew. I think Drew is the next World Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah, I think it's him or Punk. I think it's one of those two. Mm-hmm. That's the only other way. Right now, that's your two biggest stars on that brand. So you have to give it to one of them. And whichever one they feel comfortable going first, whether it's Drew because Punk's coming back from an injury, or they just want to give Drew a run because they stole the title off him in 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I think eventually Drew gets that shot back. And then the Undisputed Championship, going to be the match of the night, going to be one of the better matches that we see in the last God knows how long. AJ Styles versus Cody Rhodes. Going to be lighted up, dude.
Agreed. Yeah, I think it just in general it'll be a good wrestling match. There might not be a ton of momentum, but I think overall it's just going to be just a good, it right there. It'll be a 5-star match.
I think so too. I honestly think that they're going to put on a clinic.
So do I.
I don't see how they don't. You know what I mean? They're like too good to not do it.
There's a reason that AJ's in this spot, and it's because of how good he's going to be in this match for Cody Rhodes.
And like we talked about, like he's constantly in this exact spot.
Mm-hmm.
The first rivalry coming off of the major title win. Because he's going to make you look good in the ring, and he's like believable to win. Like
Speak of the devil.
Dude, he's so good. He's so good in the ring. I love him. so much. Like watching him in the ring is just remarkable. It's we're lucky. We're lucky that he's had this long of a career and that he's had this long of a run in WWE. I didn't think it'd be this long, and I'm thankful that it is. Like for sure, I'm thankful.
I'm just glad that we got to see him in the WWE at all in
Right.
this capacity.
Right. I didn't think it was ever going to happen.
And that they recognized how big of a star he was and gave him a championship run instead of like dicking him around for years.
Yes, exactly. Thinking he was too small or just another company's guy or an internet darling or whatever it is. They literally gave him a chance and he ran with it.
He had one of the best years, one of the best beginning years of a WWE superstar of all time.
Yeah, they pushed him right off the bat.
Yep.
Even the big spot at the Rumble when he came out at 4, the Iron Man spot.
Something like that. Yeah.
He killed it too. He had a great showing.
Great showing. Ends up, I think he won the Rumble or won it the next year or something like that. Or I think it was the next
year. I think that was Roman's year.
Yeah, it was something along those lines.
Yeah.
But I know he ended up
showing.
Yeah, he ended up having a great year, won the Rumble. I think he won the championship off the Rumble or something along those lines. I'd have to go back and look because I have an awful memory, but it was something like that.
Yeah, he had a monster year. But yeah, I think it's a great match. Cody retains. There's no way he drops that.
100%. 100%.
No way. There's no way. I would be like beyond surprised. Like
I'll eat this hat next week on next Friday if Cody loses tomorrow.
And I love Cody Rhodes, but I kind of want to see it. I kind of want to see it. What news did you have?
All right. So I think this would be a good little story to end the show, and it's really not big news for anyone who doesn't care, but I care, and I thought this was a great eagle-eyed fan pointed out that in a recent tease for the mystery faction that we all know is basically going to be Uncle Howdy or Bo Dallas.
Yeah,
there was a code in the teaser. The letters UDENJ51A. And someone thought about it. The U is for Uncle Howdy. The E is for Eric Rowan. D is for Dexter Loomis. N is for Nikki Cross. J is for Joe Gacy. The 5 and the 1. 5 plus 1 is 6. Wyatt 6. The A is for Alexa Bliss. And
I would love Dexter Loomis coming
and
back.
It picked up a lot of traction online. It was, I mean, this is from Essentially Sports. There was a lot of tweets about it. A lot of people actually saw this theory and thought this because it's, I mean, the fact that somebody saw that cryptic like letter that, I mean, it was,
right.
It was a prominent showing in the cryptic, kind of teaser they put up.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's the first letter of 6 superstars who have been off TV.
I like that.
And all have a dark or weird, supernatural type to their character. I mean,
dude, I think Dexter Loomis would be money in that role.
So good. And each one of those, there's built-in stories to all of those. Because you've got, I mentioned last week, the Dexter Loomis Indy Hartwell thing. You could do something between the 2 women superstars in the group against Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae. Braun Strowman just came back and is clearly not going to be part of this faction because they brought him back as himself. So there could be something going on there. I thought Joe Gacy was always kind of like a Wish.com Bray Wyatt. So not surprised that he would get, and he's been rumored for a call-up. Wouldn't be surprised to see him in the group as well. Nikki Cross was doing some weird shit before she disappeared from TV again. She was like constantly like the background of shots on shows, just kind of like staring off into the distance or at the camera or off screen.
She's always been a weird character though.
Well, her best work was in Decay, not Decay.
The one with Eric Young.
Yeah, with Eric Young. Damn it,
I know
was
what
it Decay?
I don't know.
Or was Decay the group? No, Decay I think was the group in TNA. They were basically the same thing. Like it was a ripoff of what TNA did.
Yeah.
Oh, that's gonna.
But it worked. Me. It was good. It was. Let me see. I'll look it up. But Nikki Cross has always had like a weird kind of.
She was better in those psycho roles than in her normal role, or the Nikki ASH.
They were called Sanity.
Sanity, thank you. Oh my God, that was going to bother me. Yeah, that was a great, and they brought them up to the main roster and they killed it, instantly destroyed it.
Right, they were given the right push for them too coming up.
We can go on about things that NXT did so well that Vince McMahon just pissed all over as soon as they came up to the main rosters.
All right, so we didn't talk much about AEW. There was a couple things that happened. The biggest storyline coming out of AEW this week was Tony Khan saying that he couldn't travel because of the neck injury he sustained during last week's Dynamite, and that he wasn't sure who was going to be in charge there, but he wasn't going to be there in person. Then his feed cuts out, and it's the Young Bucks saying they can do whatever they want because they have an ironclad contract. Obviously, Tony Khan's going to end up getting involved more. That's just what it looks like now. And I don't know how it's going to play out because he's super awkward.
The only thing I could think of is it's setting up for an authority figure to come in and take over. For like Tony maybe plays an on-screen role for a short time and then succeeds control to somebody who's going to come in and clean house or rule with an iron fist kind of thing. And honestly, for as much shit as there's been going between Tony Khan and Eric Bischoff, I'd almost put money on Eric Bischoff being the guy that comes in and takes over for AEW.
I would love it.
Mm-hmm.
It would make so much sense for him to go in there and actually, but they have to give him actual power too. Like they actually have to listen to him. They can't just bring him on just for show. Like he should be listened to.
Well, I think it could be one of those things where he gets on the show, the Jacksons, the Young Bucks don't want to listen to him. And then he has somebody, I don't.
Oh no, I know. I'm not saying on screen. I'm saying behind the scenes. They need him behind the scenes.
I mean, I can't speak for how that would go, but I'd like to think that if they do bring in someone that's not Tony Khan, they'd be like, all right, well,
I don't know because they haven't listened to anybody yet.
Who's been in there though? Like, there's been nobody like an Eric Bischoff that
they have Tony out, but like he said, it wasn't a good fit, so we didn't sign. Like, they just don't want to listen to people. It seems like it just seems like they don't want to listen to anybody. Like,
they want to be their little boys club.
Right, and that's great and fun, but it's not going to pan out long term.
Yeah, it doesn't work for business.
No, it's bad business, horrible business, it's stupid. Like, and it's a shame because they do have a very talented roster.
I think in the business they call it going into business for themselves.
Yeah, and like I know I trash them a lot, but it's because I expected so much from them because of their roster and how much talent they have surrounding them that they should be better than what they are.
Yeah.
Like, they're just disappointing. That's it.
Storylines are flat. The wrestling's good, but the gimmicks aren't great. Story continuity's a little spotty. The stories are weak, and they keep pushing them anyway. It's
not great.
There's just nothing that gets. There's nothing that gets me to tune in. I'm still waiting. I'll let you guys know as soon as something gets me to tune in on a Tuesday or Wednesday, rather.
In Jericho, it looked like he just stole someone's TV time this week. Like, that's not the role that he signed up for. Initially, it was supposed to be to help them get brand recognition and then put the young guys over, and it doesn't seem like he's doing that. It feels like he's hanging on to whatever he has left for dear life.
Yeah.
Like, and I love Jericho, but like, it's time, dude. Well past your prime. It's time. You can definitely still out wrestle me. There's no doubt about it. But you're not what Chris Jericho was, and I think you have to realize that.
Just bring back the list one more time.
Yeah, not in AEW though.
I don't care.
He'd get trashed for that if he did it in AEW.
I just want to hear him tell someone that they made the list just one more time.
That was such a stupid thing that got over. It was.
I loved it because it was so dumb. It was and he had the light up jacket. And him and oh god, I could go on about that too. That was a fun little time for Jericho.
Dude, he turned something that wasn't anything into like really entertaining television.
Yep.
It was so stupid. It was great. It was, you just made the list. And then he's just like, the stupid things with the pens. And he's like, yeah. And then the crowd would just eat it up.
Yeah, yeah.
It's just, he has so much talent, dude. I don't want to see him go out like this.
True.
I think that's what it is. I just don't want to see selfishly Jericho go out like this. I want to remember Jericho for what he was and not like a Ric Flair hanging on way too long for crap.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? Jericho's better than that. He already like retired twice early. Like
I always want to remember Jericho for being the only WCW guy that actually was allowed to get over in the WWE.
Yeah, dude.
Because I will never forget, he beat The Rock and Stone Cold in a match. A WCW guy of his size.
In the same night to be the first ever undisputed heavyweight champion.
Yup. And that to me, I always like sometimes when I see Jericho wrestle, I think about that. Like he was the first undisputed champion and beat two of the most over superstars the WWE has ever created.
He went from being a cruiserweight in WCW to debuting on Monday Night Raw, going like word for word with The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
That right there puts you in a different stratosphere once you walk into WWE if you joust with The Rock verbally.
Yep.
And that was his first night, and he held his own.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It was a glory to behold.
Right. And the fans that knew him loved it. And the fans that didn't know him loved it. They were like, who is this guy?
Who the fuck is this guy?
And then, like, I mean, it's forgotten in time, but he did struggle in WWE for a little while and took a little while to figure out his role. And then when he did, dude, he took off.
Yep.
Bro. He was such a stud for WWE for a long time. Just put on some of the best matches, had some of the best characters. His changing over the years. Chris Jericho is one of the greatest to ever do it.
Like, 100% agreed.
His heel work when he came back, like the first time, and he was like in a suit using big words because he watched like No Country for Old Men and was like, I like this. I'm gonna do this. Got that over. You know, like he got the highlight of the nightlife. He got that over. And then, you know, he did the big words, Jericho. And then he was just a baby face, got over there. And then he just constantly changes things up and hits every time.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't, it seems like he doesn't miss until recently. Like the Painmaker is weird. I don't like it, but.
There's a great choke slam. Oh, Finn's done.
It got broken up. Do you have anything else?
Nope. I think I've talked enough tonight.
I think that's pretty much all I got for wrestling news this week. I will try to cover AEW better next week. We didn't have much time, but we are.
If they do something that gives us worth mentioning, maybe.
Yeah,
got him.
Maybe we should do another show to cover Backlash.
Maybe
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it off air. But for that, be a friend, tell a friend. Go like on Facebook, Instagram at the Midcard Show. Share it with your friends. Like I said, don't be a stranger. Leave us a comment. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a like. Give us a follow. Subscribe. Shoot us a message. Let us know what you want to hear about. If there's a specific pay-per-view you remember, want us to talk about, hear our perspectives on it. Feel free, dude. We're always down to watch wrestling. And for that, I'm the Goat Bands, and that is my co-host, Joey Wrestling. And we are out. Have a good night, guys.